Between aging and busy lifestyles, many women struggle with maintaining their physical and mental wellness. At Aquavita Concierge Healthcare Services for Women, we can help you revitalize your health and reclaim your life. We start from within by balancing your hormones, allowing your body to achieve and maintain desired weight goals. We also specialize in peptide therapies, regenerative medicine, sexual health, and aesthetics in our state-of-the-art facilities. Feel better, look better, live better at Aquavita. Visit aquavitality.com and begin your journey today.
Take your hunting and birdwatching experience to the next level with Alpine Optics. With state-of-the-art technology, chic design, and super functional features, Alpine Optics binoculars and spotting scopes are the ultimate companion for outdoors enthusiasts. As practice-oriented hunters and nature observers, Alpine knows you have to rely 100% on your equipment when stalking, night hunting, and more. Explore their range at alpineoptics.com. Alpine. Discover the difference.
Hi everyone, this is Matt with Deep Woods Paranormal, coming to you tonight from the Deep Woods office. I've got Elena Ross with me and Amanda Harvey with me. We're going to be following up on our conversation about the Normandy Inn. Lots of people had a lot of experiences. As I'm getting the chills for some weird reason, there's something standing behind me in the office. That's awesome. Anyways, so tonight we're going to be talking about like I said, some of the personal experiences we had. I know Elena had a couple up in the voodoo room, and so did Amanda. I didn't have any experiences in there, but I had a lot of weird things happen as well that I saw. So we're going to start with Elena. We're going to have her talk about what happened to her in the voodoo room, and then we'll have Amanda talk about what she experienced in the voodoo room. And then they also experienced something really, really cool, something that doesn't happen very often. And I'm with them talking about that too. So without further ado, here's Elena to talk about her experience in the voodoo room.
All right. Well, hey guys, thanks for joining us again for another week. This is always fun to get to come on the podcast. When we first entered the home, we walked into a big open room on the first floor. It had like bay windows. And I was just standing there kind of looking at the lay of the land, trying to figure out the house and how things were set up. And it felt like 12 children ran by me, like a gust of wind, and I swear I could feel the pitter-patter of like the vibrations of the feet on the floor. They had to have been between 5 and 9 years old because it was not any higher than my shoulders area, but it was like a video montage you see in someone dreaming or something like that, but I felt it. I felt little people running past me, so I was asking about the house. I'm like, oh, were there children here? And it was an old-timey boarding house, too, so I can imagine a lot of children have passed through that area. And then another time when we were in the voodoo room actually doing EVPs, I was standing near the corner, but not near the window. We had another investigator there, Aaron, was near the window, and I was kind of sandwiched between Aaron and Amanda when we were doing EVP work. And the small of my back kept getting freezing cold. They even put a FLIR on me at one time to look at the heat, and you could see this spot on my lower back that just kept getting way colder than the rest of my body. This is a 92-degree house on the beach area where it's hot and humid outside. There is no reason I should be doing anything other than sweating. Mm-hmm. And my whole bottom of my torso was blue cold. And what's interesting about that is it wasn't just in that room. Everywhere I went, it'd be so hot. We'd be walking around the house. We'd have 3 stories. We're going up and down stairs, just sweating. Anywhere I stopped, something was behind me. Something was making either between my upper shoulder blades or my lower back really cold. And I kept trying to think, well, maybe there's some kind of draft or something, but there were no windows near me at all. At one point, I was on the staircase sitting down, and that's where I got the coldest. In fact, I was like, ooh, I've got a chill, because my whole back was just frozen. And there were no windows by the staircase at all. In fact, that was what I considered the hottest part of the house because there were no windows. Yeah, there was no way to get air to that area. Of course, there's no power or lighting at all in this home. So there's no way there was an AC or a fan of any kind, and no one was near me to walk around.
Right.
So.
I had a friend one time, a long time ago. She was truly psychic. I mean, she could walk into a house and do all this stuff, but she practiced chakras. Mm-hmm. And she said you have one in the front of your head, and she was just like one in the middle of your neck, like lower up, right where your shoulders are, just right there, and then one in the middle of your back. So she said that spirits go to those areas possibly to drain energy off of you.
Well, they were touching both my back chakras, then for sure, the upper shoulder and the lower back. It was crazy. I mean, and in hindsight, it kept me cool for the night, but my face was still sweaty, hot, and red. You know?
Well, one of the interesting things that you had said was, Matt, it doesn't feel like there's anything going on because there's no energy in the house. And I kind of felt that too. And I'll talk more about my experiences later, but that was interesting. That you said that. And it's like they have to pull energy off of us. And as everybody heard, our camera continually, like somebody was playing with our camera, like touching the button. It was like a little kid just sitting there just playing with the buttons. But anyways, get back to your story, please.
Well, that was it for my experiences, the one that I jointly experienced with Amanda, but I'll let her tell about that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go back to the room first. And when Elena's back was so cold, I also, during that same time, felt like someone touched my arm. So we specifically told the spirit not to touch us. So that was a little bit disturbing. So it felt like someone rubbed their hand down my arm. And then it felt like someone grabbed my butt. So that was very weird.
Okay, now I'm jealous.
Very disturbing. So that room had a lot of activity for us.
And we were definitely spaced out. The three of us girls were at least 3 feet apart from each other. We all picked our own area of the wall to kind of lean against. Aaron in the corner, me in the middle, and you by an actual entrance room door.
Yeah.
So there was no way anyone on the team or any wind or anything touched Amanda's arm or butt. Maybe herself. But none of us were nearby.
I didn't touch myself.
And the breeze, the little tiny bit of breeze that was coming through the cracks in the windows, because that house is very airy because of it's just an old house. And stuff like that. It was hot. It was hot air coming in, and it was not cold. It was like 90 some odd degrees that day, and it was, down by the beach, it's hot and humid. Just humid, hot air coming in.
Especially Galveston.
Yeah, so if you stood by the window, you were going to get hotter air blown on you, because now that's that sea breeze. And it got hotter as the night went on instead of, the opposite of what you expect. But it's summertime, so that's what happens. It gets hotter.
Yeah. So then, later on in the night, it was probably was it 1 o'clock in the morning?
At least, maybe 2 even.
It was real late, early morning. And the rest of the team were in another room investigating, and we were kind of having our downtime, actually. And Elena was on her phone looking at something, and I was sitting, underneath the stairs where we had set up our home base. And I wasn't really, doing anything kind of meditating. And so I was really tired. So anyway, so I was looking, we had a laser light set up and it's like a grid. And so if you cross the grid, you can see something. And then behind the laser light, there was a camera. And I was just kind of staring off into the space, and beyond the laser light, behind the camera, I saw black particles starting to form. And I was like, I see something. And Elaine was on her phone, so I was like, well, also, the light was sucked out of the room. And it's really hard to explain because Elena's phone was really bright, the laser was on, and there was a light on the camera as well. But it was all those lights were dimmed at once, even her phone. And I was like, Elena, I see something. Can you turn your camera that way? Because I've never experienced, I've been on a lot of investigations. Matt sees things. I don't. I've never actually seen anything before. So it was really shocking to me. And I was like, Elena, turn on your camera. So then Elena turned on her camera.
Yeah, so meanwhile, I'm looking for hotel rooms because I wasn't going to stay in a haunted house nor in a hot one. So
that's why I didn't stay the night. I was actually originally stay the night. But what you guys are describing, that's pretty normal. It's a phenomenon that happens when activity's going on. And I don't know if it's real or not, but people report rooms just getting darker. Or even out, when we used to do Black Star Canyon, I mean, all of a sudden it would look like the area just got darker. All the light just disappeared. It just got dark.
And what's interesting about where Amanda's perspective was, where she was sitting by the only tiny little window under the stairs, and there was a street light out in the distance that was quite dim. So you could not see anything where we were anyway. It was, like I said, dim street light. But it was the wall area where the grid had been against. It's like us, laser grid, and then 4 feet before you got to a solid wood wall, which opened into the kitchen or the kitchen area.
Yeah.
And when she told me to turn my camera on, I looked at her in the face like, why? But I didn't say anything. I just, turned my camera on. And she says, face the grid. So I just turned just slightly to my left and started recording. And I have a 1.5-minute video of some kind of black mass forming amongst the laser grid, just on the edge of it where it starts to kind of dissipate a little bit. And what I saw with my eyes, in the video I'd have to line it up a whole lot to see if we can even see anything. But when she talks about the light being sucked out of the room, it was already dark, guys. It was pitch black dark. And that street light was a joke. Like, that was not coming through a window. That was several yards away.
Yeah.
So when we say it got darker, I'm holding a phone that refracts light into my face, and I couldn't see my fingers. That's how dark it got in that room. Well, so just on the edge of that green grid light, I started to see what looked like the formation of 2 giant man legs, because women don't have legs that big. And it became a whole shadow person in front of me. Now my hand's shaking, right? Because I don't like to experience things. I mean, I go out hunting and everything, right? But I'm the sensitive, so I really don't want to get possessed today. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Right? No, thank you,
No one wants that.
Don't come home with me. And when I saw it, like, really freaked me out.
She was really upset.
And I was like, there's something there. I see something. And when I was saying that, now that black figure that I saw spread out to like a big black, I would say smoke, but there wasn't like smoke in the room. It just the coloring on the camera. I'm looking at this the whole time through my phone video camera because I was scared to death if I looked up beyond the phone, something was going to touch me or be right in front of me. I mean, I was absolutely petrified, guys, just petrified. And so I'm just trying to record it, for posterity's sake. But the smoke image of the black shadow, if you will, began to radiate out, filled my whole camera's eye. You could see it black out the laser grid and almost fill up the doorway to the kitchen area. But then it started to shrink down when Amanda was saying that you saw static.
Yeah. It was like, well, what I describe it as, maybe seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This is an old movie. And the little boy goes through the TV and he moves and there's particles in the air. That's what it was like, except it was not in color. It was in grayscale. And, or almost like if it's a really hot summer day and the sun is beating off the concrete and the waves. It was energy. And it was just, and at the same time, I also got the chills. So I was like, oh my God, Elena, I got the chills, like all up and down my arms.
Meanwhile, my back is still frozen, guys.
Yes. And then in the other room, you can still kind of hear the guys, because we weren't investigating at that time. This just happened. We were sitting there, and Matt said, oh, I got the chills. So I got the chills. Elena's back was cold. And then Matt, who's in another room completely doing something different, also got the chills.
So something was definitely happening. Yeah. And on my camera, we have a much higher resolution on our phones than we do on our TVs or our computer monitors. On my phone, when I play the video back, you can see that black edges of the static and the rest of the background where the wall or the grid and everything else was be a lighter gray. But you can see the black mass staticking into that gray, which just is crazy that Amanda could not see my phone at all. I was perpendicular to her and about 10 feet in front of her, and she was facing head on to the wall and about 15 feet from where this thing was appearing, And so here I am, shaken. Stop the video, and here she is. She's like, oh, I see something again, record again. I'm like, ah! Here's 15 more seconds. I'm out of here. What's going on? We're supposed to be on break.
Yeah, we're not investigating at this point.
We're just rehydrating in the heat,
Well, we had to drink a lot of water because it was so hot. But while all that was happening, they were investigating in the other room, and I saw when they were wrapping up their investigation, you could hear them wrapping up, and the light from one of the headlamps that they were using went across another room. Like, all these rooms were connected by another room, and there was a door, and there was a figure in the other door. So I don't know if it was the same figure and it moved, or there was another figure in the door. It could have been anybody, one of those people. It could not have been any of those people in the other room, because they were standing in a different direction and their shadows were hitting here.
They were against the walls.
Yes. Yeah. Whereas this shadow was in the doorway here. Mm-hmm. So, that's very interesting. I've never really actually seen a full body apparition like that before.
And what's really interesting is where she's seeing the shadow in this doorway is the same room I was talking about feeling the children run by me. So I wonder, what are these spirits? Is that maybe the dad standing in a doorway telling the kids to calm down? I mean, you never know. This hotel saw a lot of families go through it, so we never know.
Well, also there was, almost 10,000 people that died during the hurricane of 1912 too. Wiped out the whole island. I mean, these could be bodies that maybe washed up on the shore and got buried by sand and maybe never got reclaimed, or maybe they're just like the house or something. It could have been a family that died next door. We have no idea.
And it is a very historic area of Galveston. It's not too far from the Strand at all. All historic giant homes. So it would not surprise me at all if that land in general is just storing so many memories and spirits. Really.
Well, right, because we metal detected as well, and when we were metal detecting, the ground is just covered in shells. So over the years, so much has happened in that area. Like, you go down an inch, and there's shells all over the place from multiple hurricanes. So you can imagine over the years how many people have been, in that area, unfortunately got caught in that area and passed away. And plus, that was a boarding house, so people came a lot. And, over the years, if you've been to a hotel, any hotel, there's deaths. So there's a lot of activity in the area.
Well, yeah, the reports say that the father was killed by the son. The son committed suicide in the house. The daughter, the 3-month-old daughter or whatever, died in the house. And then, I remember on the spirit box at the end of the night, we had, I asked, how old are you? I was talking about the little props that we brought. We brought a teddy bear and a slinky and a yo-yo, a woodwood yo-yo, and a doll. And I said, do you like the toys? And I said, how old are you? And the word 12 came through. So it's like, okay, well, that's why none of the props are being played with, because she's too old. Mm-hmm. But, my experience also, I saw multiple shadows in that house.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest experiences probably I've ever had, because I've never seen a little tiny shadow like I did that one night. We were all up in the hallway. I keep getting the chills for some reason.
What floor was it?
We were on the second floor. Okay. And we were basically all standing down the hallway, and we were doing an EVP session, and we pulled out the spirit box to start, not box, but box, I always say the wrong word. There used to be something called the spirit vox, V-O-X, and then they came out with the spirit box, B-O-X. So I refer to the wrong one. Anyways, so we're sitting there, and we're getting all kinds of gibberish coming out of it, which is normal for us. It's annoying as heck. But sometimes, every once in a while, we get lucky, and something that we can actually understand comes through. And you'll see that on our show, hopefully, here in the next couple of weeks. We're just waiting on the owner. He's working on something. He doesn't want the video released yet. So I'm hoping in a couple of weeks we'll be able to release that video onto YouTube for you guys. But anyways, so one of my first experiences, when I first walked in, I was the first one there, by myself, brought the gear up, set it by the door, unlocked the padlock, put it aside, started to walk in, and I hear footsteps. I'm like, okay. So this house is famous for having, people squat and whatever else in the house. So I'm just thinking, okay, maybe somebody's there. So I just basically unloaded the rest of the gear, set it by the door, and kind of waited. And I waited for a little bit longer. I know Erin had texted me. She was on her way. It was like, cool. And then Eric was on his way as well. Not Eric Ross, but Eric Ruiz. And so I'm just like, okay, I feel comfortable. I'm just going to walk in. And as I'm standing there, setting up, every time I start to move something around, I'd hear like the same noise come from either the second or third level. It would mimic whatever I was doing. I would set something on the table and it'd go doot doot, and then I hear doot doot upstairs. And it was like something was just playing games.
And it wasn't an echo.
No, it wasn't an echo. What
sound.
scared me the most is I started hearing more footsteps. So I grabbed my phone out of my pocket because I didn't have all the gear set up yet. And so I set my phone literally on its side on the banister facing up the stairs. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll catch something. I've not reviewed that video yet. But as it kept going on, I mean, Erin walked in, and she set up her chair and was helping me set up. And then Eric walked in, and we all heard it. We're like, we look up at the ceiling. We're like, okay, doot, 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 doot. I'm like, okay, you guys all heard that, right? I'm not just, going crazy. And so I was supposed to spend the night Friday night, which I unfortunately didn't because I had to go check into the hotel, and I never got out of the hotel for whatever reason. But anyways, so that was my first experience in there. As I was walking down one of the hallways downstairs on the first level, I saw a shadow peek out the door, and it looked more like maybe a little shorter than me, maybe about 5'8", 5'9", and duck around, like an upper torso peer out of it was just like a black silhouette, peer outside. It's just kind of grayish, almost like if you've seen the movie Predator, where it's kind of transparent, but it has a kind of a gray, solid grayness. But sometimes I do see like static in them too. It's kind of weird. So what you described is sometimes what I see. If I don't see them as full body apparitions, and I'm not psychic or special in any way. I don't claim to be psychic. I've been doing this so long. I've grown up with ghosts my whole life, and I've seen things my whole life. And if you go back and listen to my very first podcast, you'll hear me describe that. So I'm like, okay, cool. So maybe there's some activity in this house, because we came up cold on any kind of research. We couldn't find anything. We went to the libraries, contacted the historical societies. We talked to Kat, who is the property manager. She's the only one who could give us any information.
Well, and due to the hurricanes, a lot of the records were destroyed in Galveston.
Right.
I mean, just anything that was paper from fires was burned or washed away. So unfortunately,
so it's just really hard to find out anything. You had looked into Elena had looked into the killing fields for me. Actually, it was so funny because we were talking about the killing fields, and that was something that I originally had looked at. In the killing fields, we'll probably talk about the killing fields. In fact, we might go investigate the killing fields. We'll get into that later. If you want to look up the killing fields, go for it. It's pretty cool. Well, not really cool, but it's an interesting place to possibly go. It's possibly an interesting, cool place to go investigate, just because we might be able to help the police maybe solve some of those murders. Mm-hmm. If we can get any EVPs from that place, maybe we can get some information for the families or maybe even the police. But we'll get into that later. Anyway, so this is getting a little long, so we're going to have to wrap this up soon. So I went upstairs, and basically I was setting out gear. I think I was setting out the cameras. We have home security cameras that we use so we can monitor what's going on. Every single 27 rooms. We had 27 cameras or something like that out on motion sensor. So if anything happened while we were gone or while we were investigating, we could go back and say, okay, check that camera. So when I was up there, I could have sworn I heard a little girl's laugh, and then something like walked by me, like you had. So it was just one kid though. It's like one little footsteps walked by me, and so I came back down. I was basically I asked Eric and Aaron to go, please start doing some EVP sessions. See if you can get any audio. Maybe we can pick up a voice. Maybe we can pick up something so we can kind of have something to start out with. Because like I said, going in cold sucks to a location. Not only it's like walking into somebody's living room while they're sitting there having a conversation, and they don't know who you are, and you're trying to ask them questions, and they're like, what in the world is going on? Why are you in my house? What's going on? It's kind of the same thing for spirits. I mean, you walk in, you don't know names, you don't know who's there, you don't know any history, so you have nothing to ask. You have to start with what's your name and all that other crap, which really sucks. And I think that's kind of what hurt us on this investigation a little bit. But so like I said, we were upstairs and we were all together in one big group, looking down the hallway. Had the camera actually facing us. We had another camera. We had 2 other cameras facing down the hallway. And the funny thing is, this little spirit, I mean, it couldn't have been more than about 3 feet tall, basically walks out of one of the hallways, walks into the hallways through one of the doors between the 2 cameras. I didn't realize there wasn't an overlap. And so, like, it saw us and walks right back in. I'm like, I'm sitting there going, hey, trying to point it out to you guys. And I guess everybody was tired at that point. And nobody else saw it, unfortunately. I'm like, oh, didn't you see that? And I think
there was a moment when we were on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
And guys, the whole night we have our K2 meters on. We really weren't getting any hits. Nothing was like, this house was so dead as far as, that's why I kept saying, where's the energy? They haven't had any energy to pull from, right?
Right.
So when we were on the 3rd floor, we were all lined in the hallway together. And we had, did we have the energy pump up there?
Yeah, we had 3 EM pumps. We had one on the 1st level, one on the 2nd level, and one on the 3rd with us.
So we had the pump out, but it wasn't close enough to set off any K2 meters. And we were trying to do EVP sessions. We were trying to say trigger words, anything to get some kind of response. And I started talking about God and Bibles and, scripture, just to see if we could get something, because there's a lot of demonic talk around this house, satanic worshiping, that kind of thing. So I said, well, let's set them off by talking about Jesus.
That's right.
And I'll tell you guys, that's the first time I saw a hit on the K2 meter. People's K2 meters started lining up, still not strong, no more than 3, not at any point in time, but 1 to 2, 2 to 3 lights. And I got real excited because I thought, well, again, boarding house, I'm sure you've seen your share of traveling preachers come through here, for sure. Especially with 27 rooms, lots of families and, I want to say hobos, but drifters really going through, needing a place to stay for the night or whatnot. There was always, especially back in the old days, preachers always coming through towns to evangelize the area and the occupants.
Yeah.
So
well, what was interesting also is, and I don't want to give our whole show away, but when we were talking about that, I think you had said that we got this male voice that came through the spirit box, and it says, he's coming next week. And I'm like, who's coming? Jesus? And they didn't answer, but it was interesting. Basically, we got a couple more responses. We're still reviewing the video, but when I go back through that part of the video, I'm going to look for it and pull it out. But yeah, we didn't get a whole lot of hits on the spirit box. Spirit boxes are very hard. I mean, it's very hard to get anything that comes through there, and if it does, it's not real legible. So I'm just trying to think, did I have any other experiences? Well, we did document when I was down there with Eric and Jason, and I think Erin was also in the room. She was helping out with the camera. We were not in. When you first walk in, there's what they call the Satanic room. It's on the right. You walk a few more steps to the left. There's the voodoo room, and then you walk up to the next door on the left, and that's where we were. And that room seemed to have more energy.
That's where I felt the kids.
Right. Mm-hmm. When I was in the room with you girls, and you girls were experiencing whatever you were experiencing, I was trying to monitor the camera and make sure everything was working correctly. I looked to my left, and I thought I saw a shadow in there. And I kept feeling something pull my attention to my left. So the guys went in there. And definitely, we heard footsteps. We heard doot, 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 doot above us, and we actually caught it on video. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it wasn't, like you said, one of 2 things probably happened. Either there was some kind of heavy-duty demonic entity in the house controlling the spirits. That's what they say. I've dealt with demonic entities, unfortunately, quite a lot. And I've helped multiple people with the demons. What ends up happening is if there is a human spirit in there, the theory, and like I said, this is 100% true because nobody can prove this, but the theory behind it is that the demonic entity or demonic spirit, whatever you want to call it, I call them evil entities, will take control of those human spirits and use them, to do its bidding, essentially. So I think at one point we did say, do you want us to cleanse the house? And it said the spirit box actually spit out, that would be great, or something like that came through.
That happened right by the stairs where Amanda and I saw the figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had asked that question. It was right at that staircase where the light was sucked out of the room. Absolutely.
So I don't think something really like that. It seemed like the people that were sensitive, which would be Amanda, Elena, Matt. Who else was sensitive that night? don't think anybody else was. It was just the three of us. All had a lot of experiences in that house. Unfortunately, the people that are not as, I don't want to say sensitive, but not as receptive to that, didn't have a lot of experiences, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that they won't have experiences in the future. It just means that they just didn't have any experiences.
And that just had a lot to do also with just the low energy contact that we were getting.
Right.
Or you had to be really open to feel it.
They claim this to be the gate to hell. I mean, if that's really true, and I kind of felt something had me on guard all night long. I just felt like I shouldn't let my guard down. That's also demonic in nature. Usually when something's telling me, hey, watch out, it's got its guard up. It's like, it wasn't ready to fight, but it was like just ready to basically protect everybody. And that's another sign of demonic entities, is basically there's no activity. I've gone into homes where people report all these crazy things, and like levitation, and you love that. You love my stories. I keep getting chills all down my arms. So anyways, you go into these homes and you do all these EVP sessions. You document the whole house, and you get absolutely nothing. You go in multiple times, time after, they keep calling you back. You keep going in, nothing. And then you realize, oh, it's demonic. And as soon as, sorry, we have a dog barking. As soon as we, start to do a different approach to it, and we start bringing religion into the house, that's when activity starts to happen. And that could be the case with this place. I don't think it's that demonic. I really don't. I think Elena kind of hit the nail on the head. I think they've been without energy for so long. It explains a lot of the activity, where you guys kept getting chills. I was kind of getting chills. The camera, oh my God, they would not leave the camera alone. Mm-hmm. I would set it up and I'm like, no, stop messing with the camera. I'm trying to get this to record.
In an elevator, just pushing every button. That's what they're doing with our touchscreen cameras. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of noise when you hit it.
Yeah, the camera beeps and it's like, okay, come on, I just have that on record, and then it turns off. That's another side of activity in a home, usually, or wherever you're at, ghost hunting at least, is the batteries will drain. But that didn't really happen in this house. So it was just an interesting location. Unfortunately, it's one of those high-end locations that you love to go in, and you hear all these cool stories, and you go in, and you don't pick up a lot of activity. So, but we have not reviewed the audio yet. I'm still in the process of reviewing the video. So we just don't know we don't know what we're going to find yet. Maybe we caught a bunch of audio. Usually, I always say, when you're not experiencing much, you're probably picking up a ton of audio. Yeah. So I'm really hoping that we have a ton of EVPs. It'd be so cool to get like a little kid's voice or something that we can say, listen here, this is what we got.
I hope we can line up my cell phone video and see that figure for me.
Yeah, we can definitely work with that.
Talk about validation for personal experiences.
Right.
We caught it for sure.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's what our group is all about. We're more scientific, and I can go into any location. Elena probably could too, and maybe even Amanda. We can walk into a location and say, okay, yeah, there's some kind of activity here. There's some kind of energy. There's something going on here. Maybe see something, maybe experience something. But I really like to document my experience. I like to get, that K2 lighting up, or get, that full body apparition on camera, because we've had a lot of luck with that out here so far since we moved to Texas. We've gotten 5 or 6 full body apparitions, which is unheard of. So, anyways, we're moving on to a couple of cool new cases. We'll be going out there into some cool locations here pretty quick, and we'll be talking about those as well. But like I said, the Normandy Inn wasn't quite what we thought it was going to be, unfortunately. But we're still reviewing video, audio, and all that stuff, so we'll just see. But we did have a lot of cool experiences, and like I said, Amanda and Elena had a really cool experience with full body apparition. That's like the gold standard of ghost hunting. That's what you go there for. You want to see an apparition. You want to see something like that. I'm jealous that they got to see that. All right, guys. Elena and Amanda, do you have anything else you want to add? Or
thanks for listening.
Yeah, have a great night.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening to our podcast. We appreciate it. This will also be on our YouTube channel. Please go check out our YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe this video, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.